Morris-Clarke, and I'm an artist. I've been painting for about 15 years, seriously, but pretty much made art my whole life. My studio here is based on Dowling Street in Dunedin, in the sort of centre, I guess, of the art precinct, and I'm situated on the top floor. I've had the studio for the last 3.5 years. I took it over a year out after my masters. I've spent most of my time painting here in Dunedin, and my work has always been concentrated around painting, and over the last 4 or 5 years I've concentrated a lot more on film imagery and painting filmic, highly saturated portraits of different popular figures, from artists like Clifford Still, an abstract expressionist from New York who was prominent through the late 1940s and 1950s. Cy Twombly, who's sort of proto-abstraction, and sort of the proto-pop stuff is probably actually a more accurate way to describe it. And he paints abstract images and writes Italian poetry into the work. I've always enjoyed the engagement of visual imagery. I think developing a tactile presence and being much more physically aware of your space in the world. We tend to, in this society, live for a large amount of time on, originally it was computers and then our phones. And so my work deals with repainting imagery now, so to speak. I'm still working in the pop imagery, but I also make works of flowers now, and I do a little subject that we recognise as being human, and in some cases it's an interpersonal relationship, and so how I choose to paint on top of these things is quite a lot different to making a landscape work, which is sort of more about discussing paint. The studio is accompanied with my records and a record player, to sort of supplement my practice with playing records. And I feel like the influence of what I choose to play to when I'm painting is definitely interrelated to the types of records that I listen to, the nostalgic sense, I guess, of the old disco imagery that I have, even though I would say that my subjects tend to focus on a period that are much earlier. I do enjoy the nostalgic aspect of what I'm attempting to do by re-communicating an old message that in some cases wasn't necessarily originally mine anyway. It's how I respond to what I see and what comes of that, and I think DJing for me in that way is sort of interrelatable to painting.